Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So good to see you this morning, this afternoon, this evening, the middle of the night, wherever you are dialing in from. So great to see you. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Beth and April, Jeannie. Hey,
Good
Carolyn. So
morning.
good to see you. And Gary and Rosa. As people still keep coming on in, I want you guys to put what's your favorite Christmas song in the chat. What's your favorite Christmas song? Put that in the chat. And team, if you could, well, I'll just go ahead. I'll spotlight myself. Good morning, good afternoon. We'd love to know your favorite Christmas song. I'm not going to sing it for you today, so don't get really excited. I see your faces. I'm not going to sing all your songs. My favorite Christmas song is years ago when I was away at university. And then when I moved out of the country, I lived in Texas for a while. And then I lived in different parts of the world and lived in California. And I was away from my parents. I would call my parents and I would sing to them, the favorite songs that we listened to growing up. And music does something to us, doesn't it? Music uncorks us, I always say. And sometimes for those of you, and I work with a lot of therapists, I work with a lot of people who understand the brain and how it works. And music is a part of us that even if we go through trauma and difficulty, it's kind of like an untouched part of ourselves. It's something that stays intact. And I believe it's something that really helps us to um, we can store more information through music. Did anybody learn that way growing up at all? Right? Songs, whether it was like memorizing, different things. With my kids, I would always be like, this little noun floating around names a person, place, or thing with a knick-knack, paddywhack. These are English rules. And then I would say, isn't language fun and cool? And my kids would kind of give me that look like I wasn't cool. You guys all with me here? Today, we are going to have a Ask Coach Heaven session. Originally scheduled was to go through the preloaded year, but what I found talking to people is they are so focused. You are so focused right now, if you live in the States, on what's next week, Thanksgiving. And for some of you, it is on Christmas. I still prefer to do the planning of the whole year. So watch for that. We are going to be doing that 2 weeks today. So 2 weeks today, we're going to plan out the whole year and do the preloaded year for 2025. Why that is so important is that your cash flow follows your calendar. Everyone put that in your notes. The cash flow follows your calendar. And if you don't have the big things planned out, what ends up happening? You fill it with the sand. So you get a request from someone, and because you haven't planned out your year, what ends up happening is you say, yeah, I'll do that. I'm getting that nod from Carolyn. She knows. I'm sure Rosa knows, and Jeannie and Nicole. We start to fill up our calendar with all these things that we're saying yes. But is it the best yes? So I'm going to teach you how to, and I got that, of course, Big Rocks First from Stephen Covey. Want to give some, awareness and congrats to him for creating that. But that big rocks first in the calendar, so then we can put the small rocks and we can put the pebbles and the sand. I'm going to teach you how to do that. I'm going to teach you the format for planning out your year next year. Some of you are going to be working with me next year in a different season to scale to 1 million. And those of you who are going to be doing that, you want to know, like, what's the format? What is my year going to be looking like? It's a different year, it's a different season. I'm going to open us in prayer, and then I want you to start to think about what is your question that you have for me. I'm going to take a quick look. Yeah, I'm already experiencing this, right? 100%. Yeah. Jeannie sees my orange cats. Jeannie, I have a confession. I have three. So when you asked me that, I was like, I can't tell her I have three, but you know what? I can because I have a cat, Timothy, and then my son Max got Henry and Theo. And so we have these three cats that look like the same cat, but actually there's three. Bells, Rosa loves. That's a good one. Silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Oh, I love that one. lest I digress, I'm opening up in prayer. We're going to dive in because we've just had 2 fabulous days, haven't we? Where we have gone into and looked at various things around your business. We've had a look at like how to curate that environment for the sale, how to overcome the objections, and how do I close 5 clients before Christmas? So I want you to think about what questions you have as I'm praying. So, Father, we thank you. We thank you that we have an incredible opportunity to lean in and to be able to fulfill the calling on our life, that we can bring the heavenly realm into the earthly realm, that there's a blueprint from heaven on the inside of us, and that we can create the skills, we can overcome our mindsets, and we can create the tool sets that will give us the assets that we desire. Today, we commit to be up so we can boss up and we can bank up and we can be the ones who are the kingdom millionaire and we have the impact around the globe. And everyone who believes it says, Amen and amen and amen. All right, it's that time. I want you to raise your hand. If you have a question for me about any part of growing, scaling your business around sales, and if I don't have like a hand in a second, you getting pulled in. You getting pulled in here. I remember my first TV performance. I got pulled in. My brother was on the Tiny Talent Time show, and I was in the audience. And they were waiting for some volunteer. Nobody volunteered. So, I just got yanked in and got to march around. That was my first TV appearance. So you're going to have an appearance. Rosa, come on in. Hello,
Okay,
love. How are you? I
I'm
pray.
great, thanks.
Good
I
to
just met up
see
with a
you.
friend this morning for breakfast and I just got back home and I'm so powered up.
I am so glad. That does rejuvenate you, doesn't it? Especially extroverts. You need that time with other
Yeah,
people, right? Well,
yes.
what is your question? I know you
My
are an excellent question asker, so go ahead.
Oh, thank you. My question is, why do you ask them that question in the beginning and not at the end? Why me? Why now? I know you have a very good
So
reason.
good. So good. So the question that Rosa is asking is with regards to the sales process. And in my sales process, I have a multiple step process because I believe that sales are lost at the beginning, not the end. And so many people miss the windows as we go along, right? You're building rapport, you're building connection, you're building that know, like, and trust. The reason why, and so whether it's the 10-minute call or the strategy call, which one would you say that you're more curious about when and where, or is it both?
Um, the 10-minute call, I feel, is
Good.
more important than the strategy call.
With regards to that process, right? Because
Yeah,
again, in the 10-minute call, you are assessing, you are not impressing, which is kind of counterintuitive to how many people were taught sales, or at least how I was taught sales. And when you're going into the conversation on the call, one thing that is when somebody says, why now and why me? What are some possible answers that will come up? And you could say categories instead of answers. So when they say, why now, why me? What information are they going to present to you?
they're going to say what's happening in their life right now that's
Okay, that's
caused them
good.
to book that call. And um, they may mention a characteristic, a trait, or quality that
Hmm.
that they got attracted to, pulled into. Why? They may say about
Exactly.
what they resonated with.
Really good. Keep going.
Um, they may also talk about, well, what they want. Why now is a good time because I want to have 1 million clients in a year.
Yep, keep going.
And so if,
So you're getting some answers. You're
right,
getting the connection piece of why they connected with you. You're getting to know what their problems are, right?
right,
and they're telling you when they want the solution,
Yes.
right? Why they booked the call. Sometimes they'll go right into that, right? Or they might
Yeah.
say, I had a lady recently who said, you just came off my feed and I just loved, I loved, I loved, I loved everything you said. I love your energy. So what details do they tell us? What like indicators of things that we can do before the strategy call? What are they giving to us essentially before the sales call?
They're telling us what inspires them, what motivates them. Because one chap said, I felt connected to you the minute you spoke my name, when you called
Mm,
out, when you spoke, you read out loud my chat question, and I felt included. So they let you know what
yes.
makes them feel good.
Okay, so letting you know, right? So that would be in the rapport, right? Again,
Yeah.
before you hop on a sales call, right? So again, the 10-minute call, everyone is part of your sales process, but it is not a sales call. If you go back to the quadrants, right, where you want to show up in authority, in connection, you are not going to be the hardcore closer. You're not going to show up as the friend. You're not showing up as the coach, but you're showing up as an advocate. When you are showing up as an advocate, you are, and everyone write this down, you're detached from the outcome. When you're detached from the outcome, it is absolutely not salesy because you're asking the questions. So when you ask why me and why now, they're going to give you a bunch of information. They might have not really thought about it until you've actually asked them. Right in that moment, they're like, "Wait a second, do I really want to lose weight now? Wait a second, do I really want?" Right? Or they'll start randomly saying things, and you can start to see that they might like you, Rosa, and everyone else listening, but they may have no idea what you do. And you are going to book a meeting from a meeting, right? Rosa, everyone here, you're going to book a meeting from a meeting. So you want to have that closed sales call booked if you know they're a good fit. And now you want to have some time. So if you're on a call with someone, Rosa, and they're saying, "Yeah, I loved you. You're awesome. You said my name and there was a resonance and your energy is beautiful and I love how much you love the Lord," but it's not really sounding like they really understand what your outcome is. Everyone listen to this. Now it's a code for you to be clear on the content you want them to have absolutely processed before that sales call. Are you with me? And this is excellent because if you have not created the content, now you have the opportunity to create that content. So they're going to tell you right in there. So for example, it could be the opposite, Rosa. They could say, well, I love your process. I love what you teach. I love the outcome. I love that you scaled to this and you did this and all these things. And they know about your model and your genius system, but there's a little bit of a distance. Can I get some people in the chat here that is saying sometimes this happens and often this can happen for men because you're having a logical conversation. There's outcomes. You're being really clear about that, but there's something missing. Remember, yesterday I talked about that secret sauce. That secret sauce is the EQ, the emotional quotient plus your model is really what prepares somebody's heart and mind. People buy what? Put it in the chat. They buy emotionally, and then they back it up logically. Your person is going to fall in love with you because of who you are. People buy coaches, not coaching. Write that down. And conversions happen in conversations. Your conversion is going to happen in conversation. This is why you teach in public and you sell in private. Now, I am going to be doing a teaching next year for those of you who are in my VIP level. I'm going to be teaching you how to do $1 million of sales in one day. Those who sign up with me next year at my VIP level, I'm going to teach you how to do that in one day. So obviously there's a lot of pieces and things that have to happen. And then you're getting the yes on that call. That's absolutely fine. But there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of, write this down, a lot of persuasion, where you are warming them up, nourishing them, building rapport, building trust, building know, like, and trust, creating where they really are clear on the outcomes you provide. So, Rosa, when you take a look at what, for my question would be for you, is why would you think it would be a question to ask at the end of the call?
Um,
Or
just
any other time? I shouldn't make that assumption. I apologize. You're just saying maybe not at the beginning of the call. Does it feel
because
abrupt? Does it feel
it's very
abrupt?
forward.
Okay, can I tell you another option you can do if it feels forward? You do, everyone here, you need to know which question is more important, why now or why me?
Why me?
No, why now?
Why now? Oh,
Because remember, when we get on a call with someone, we need to know that they are in what I call the holy ease of sales. This is your holy ease of sales right here, which is the now. And before the now, you want to reverse engineer everything before that. For it to be a now, they have to know that it's you. For it to be you, they have to be solution aware. For them to be solution aware, they also have to be problem aware. And somebody who is a now buyer, remember we talked about before, and some of you have followed me for a long time, you know that out of the people that you're connecting with, 50% are not your people. So if you have 1,000, you know automatically that 500 aren't your people. But you also know that out of the other 500, 15% are now buyers. This is just math. 85% will eventually be your clients. So in the process that I work with, you hear my cadence, you hear my energy. I'm excited. I love you guys, but I am not attached to the outcome. I'm not attached to the outcome on my sales calls. I'm not attached to the outcome on my training. I'm not attached. I show up, I do my very best. I'm not attached. If that person really hears and knows and sees, over time, they're going to go, why was I waiting so long? Let's get this done. Let's work with her. Right. And that is it's a relaxing atmosphere, which I call curating the environment for your prospect. No high pressure sales, because a sale is delivering value to someone. You're only going to go through that process if it's the right value. So you're assessing, not impressing. You want to know that it's a now thing because 15% of people are now buyers. Rosa, if you're paying for someone, I know you're part of Gary's team, but you're going to be having teams eventually. And if you're paying for people, like I have people who work for me all over the world, anytime I'm doing anything, there's a cost. There isn't me messaging somebody without a cost. I have a house manager. My husband's on my husband works for me. I have other people that work for me. I have marketing. I have a YouTube guy I've just hired recently. So there's a cost to that. When you're on a call with somebody and they ask, why me, why now? That person says, yeah, you know what? You're awesome and you're great. And I love what you do. And I've been following you, but I'm going to have a baby in 2 weeks. Or, um, you know, it's just not, and they're not giving you an excuse, right? You have to drill down any of the, time, money, got to talk to my spouse. There's always other things going on. Everyone write down price is never the issue. Somebody wants something, they'll buy it. Remember me and my Porsche? I didn't even go look at my Porsche. I just called the guy, told him to deliver it. I didn't haggle the price. I said, wrap it in plastic, bring it to my house. I didn't even talk to my husband. I knew what I wanted. So why now? Why me? Everyone, you can ask that at a different stage. When you're on the strategy call, Rosa, you've got to ask that first. Just curious, why now? Why me? Because you have reverse engineered, and make sure, Gary and Rosa, you watch yesterday's training at least twice and go through the PDF of all my steps beforehand, during the 10-minute call, after the 10-minute call. Now, I don't want to hear anybody saying that is so much work. If you can show me a better way to fulfill your highest call and make this much money, you can message me day or night. But I've paid the best coaches in the world the highest amounts of money, and I've given my whole life to this. You guys know that. I've given everything in my heart and soul to make sure I'm teaching you the best. Yesterday's PDF is probably one of the best. It's got every question, everything that, like anything that I've ever done or thought about it, it's on there. Gary's going to love it. Okay. So, why me, why now for sure is non negotiable. It's got to be after you pray on the strategy call. Because otherwise, your team, it could go on to a call with somebody and do their vision and the roadblocks and everything and get to the end and they go, well, it's just not the right timing. Or, well, I told you, I'm like dead broke and I'm like living on the street. Okay. So those questions have to be asked and you have to talk about it earlier. Rosa, you'll like this. So if you're not crazy about the why me, why now, because it feels okay, abrupt. A question I absolutely love, because you guys know I love questions. People that I love the most are people who ask beautiful questions. That's why I love Jeannie. I don't even know Jeannie, but she talks about great things and she asks me things, right? I love curious people. Aren't they wonderful? So, question I like to ask is, what's going on in your life right now that makes this the best time for us to be talking? What's going on in your life right now? Carolyn, you're always so fast. Can you type that in the chat? What's going on in your life right now that makes this the best time for us to be talking? Because in that, when they respond, they get curious and they'll go off into their, and I love this because I don't want some kind of just answer that everybody gives. I want to hear their process. I love getting to know people. So, Rosie, your person might say, my people say, that is such a good question. Some of you are some of these people. You're like, that is such a good question. And then you go through the process in your mind. Why is this good? Well, over the last year, I had a lady who signed up in the last week. You guys are going to love her. Absolutely love Lynn. If you're listening, oh, she's gold. And, if you're somebody, you're like, okay, well, I left a job and I've done some kind of training and I've realized that a lot of knuckleheads out there and they don't know what they're doing. And I listen to you and and you got it going on. So here's the thing, guys. Sales are difficult because people have been taught to talk at people. When we talk at people, I hope everyone here feels like I'm in the room having a conversation with you. When we don't have a conversation and we just talk at people, it feels pressured. It feels like you're not really caring about me. So, Rosa, anything that you ask that actually shows to your person that you are invested in them. So, first question is, what's going on in your life right now that makes this the perfect time for us to be talking? And keep the language of perfect because it's meant to be a glimmer. You guys know that I like glimmers, not triggers. It's a glimmer because your person sometimes realizes, I've helped a lot of women in their 60s and 70s scale. And when I've had that conversation, they've just been with me. They've been like, you know what? It really is time. And they've made the finances work and they've had the biggest changes in their lives. Those of you who have watched my testimonial videos, you've seen many that are in that category. So they will talk themselves and they'll go, well, yeah, this is the right time. Like if I don't get this done now, when am I going to do it? Okay, so keep it with the word perfect in there. Another thing about perfect is that perfect leads them into a process where they start to diagnose themselves. When people start to diagnose themselves and walk it through and go, okay, yeah, it really is, they bring themselves over the sales line. They pick up their own freaking hand and they walk themselves across the sales line. You're not saying anything. You're asking really good questions. Every question on that page, that PDF, and if you don't have it or you missed it, make sure you just put PDF. Just put PDF in chat if you missed it. Everyone who's a client of mine, you have a copy of it already uploaded into the portal. But those of you who are not, you can have it as well, just for today, if you're here in this room. Just put PDF in the chat. Every question on there is just like untapping. It should be called how to untap gold, how to have gold pour out of a faucet. I'll tell you where, Rose, I'm going to go in here just this rabbit hole for a second is even if you don't close the sale, so because some of you are starting, some of you haven't done this, some of you have done this for a while, but you really need some nice tweaks in your process. You ask really good questions. Your people feel loved. They feel seen. They feel heard. And then they're actually given space and time to respond. And if they really are a person who is coachable, again, you're looking for someone who's coachable, likable, and can afford your services. And when I say afford, everybody almost can afford our services. I always say everything is figure outable. If you want something bad enough. Has anybody bought something here before that you really didn't have the finances for? Yes or no in the chat. Anybody bought a truck or a trip or a ring or whatever, fill in the blank. People buy for only one reason, because they want to. So let's not give them reasons not to buy if it's a good fit. So Rosa, let's go back to that. The why me, why now, non-negotiable for sure on the strategy call. 10-minute call. Share with me what's going on in your life right now that makes this the perfect time for us to be talking. Does that feel softer?
Yes. Yes.
I think that's on my original 10-minute call script. Again, the script is just a framework.
Yeah. I
An
think it
outline.
depends. Sorry, coach. I
Go
think it
ahead, love.
really depends on our nature and the way we communicate. So when you can say why me, why now, and it falls from your mouth very easily, it may not. For me, share with me right now falls more like gems from my mouth. So I'm glad that we
Yes.
have the option, and I feel that language is so important because each one of us has a slightly different way of relating.
Well, so good, so good. So let us know how that works for you. Please post and
Okay,
keep us updated because everyone here is going to be interested as to how that worked for you. Big
thank
help.
you.
And
Thank you so
everyone else, you
much.
bet. Everyone else, put in the chat, like, what are some of those things that you loved and that you learned from that really made a difference? I would love to see that if you guys want to pop some of those things in the chat and I can read it, as well as I want whoever is ready next. Yeah, so Chris, the PDF is there. Thank you, Christian. Um, who is ready with their question for me? Wave your hand. Jeannie, go ahead. I can't see everybody on my screen. I'm seeing my whiteboard. Hi, lovely.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello. It's always morning for Jeannie, guys. You have to remember this. Doesn't matter
It
what
doesn't
time it
matter
is.
what time of day, it's
It's
morning. That way
morning.
I don't have to think.
That's right. Okay, share your question, love.
I have heard that when people are learning from you and or know what the program is, they have to be 100% behind that, but also 100% comfortable with you, or else you're not going to get anywhere.
Yes,
Trust level, etc., etc.
exactly.
What do you think?
100%. So when you are, when you're, whatever it is that you're working with your people, and I know you do 10 million things, but when you're chatting with your person, you definitely want to, you want them to have buy-in, right, on your model. You need buy-in, right, on the type of person that you are. But it's more important because as you scale, your people, you're going to have other people that are going to be helping you. Everyone has a different level of energy, and everybody has a different level of delivery model. You want them to have bought in on the type of environment that you curate. So they know that anyone else who shows up, like for me, for example, anyone in my team or anyone who does onboarding, anyone who's met with a client, they will always open up in prayer with someone because that's just part of our, business plan, if you will. But they want to be buy-in on your model, buy-in on you. And then it's very important that anybody who comes through your doors is coachable and likable and can afford your services. Now, you may have something else that's important to you. Like fun is really big for me, as well as I like somebody who errs on the side of grace. So if I have, and this is to you out there, if you send me messages that say on page 15, you didn't dot an I have a special place for you with the people who sweep their driveways. And I think we should have a truck and pick all the people up who have time to send messages to people about, come on, about dotting an I or crossing a T. So to me, somebody who is a little bit grace filled, maybe been through the fire a few times in their lives, maybe lost a child or went through divorce, or I call them second mountain people. So I don't want anyone who is going to be a nitpicker, who is going to let me know who has time to sweep their driveway. Can I get an amen in the chat? Because no one here is that person. Does that answer your question, Jeannie? Does that help?
It does. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, love. You bet. All right. Keep going, guys. I know you have questions for me. I know you have good questions. Carolyn, ask me something on the sales process, or Lori, or Gary, or Chris. Can see you guys. Hey,
All right, so
Carolyn.
I absolutely have one if yeah, I don't want to take away from anybody, but I got one.
I want you to come in. Hey, you're
right,
going to
I'm
go where
ready.
you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated, girl.
That's right.
Celebrate you. Okay, how can I help you?
Okay, so what I'm finding right now is that the gaps are occurring because I'm having trouble keeping organized because things are rolling well. And so I have
Yes.
multiple people lining up for triage calls and multiple people that I'm juggling sales calls with, and I am slipping through the cracks, and I feel as though I'm missing some sales opportunities because I'm not selling between the 10-minute and the strategy call well.
Exactly. So, girl, I want everybody to say in the chat, this is such a good problem to have.
This
And
is a
Carolyn knows
great
it.
problem to
So,
have.
Carolyn, part of this is just so you have a heads up because you're going to be qualifying to be one of the people next year that I help to scale to 1 million. And so, part of this, I want to just give you some hope. Part of the solution that I will be teaching you is around the appointment engine, around the workshop to sale. Okay, so there's pieces in here that are going to be adding a bit of a funnel, having a team member, the replacement ladder where you have the VA all the way to somebody with your delivery, different options. Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to know that on the bigger picture, this is something that we will be doing next year. I'm also going to have a 3-day, which is actually 2.5 of teaching and then some fun, 3-day event that's going to be a part of that. So, and if you're hearing this live, guys, and you're like, hey, you have to be doing 10, 15 or more thousand a month to qualify for this level. Okay. And so, but I'm going to be working with very specifically founders to be able to now let's scale up. So without because I don't want you to have a system in yet, right? I don't want you to add on anything because it's going to get more confusing.
Right.
So what happens now, you have the tracker and you're keeping track of people sort of, or you
Yep.
are, yep. Okay. So you're tracking people, which is awesome. Now would probably be a really good time to add a VA, even for like 5 hours a week.
Okay.
Okay. And I will share a little bit because again, up here I have a playbook for your order that you hire for the female founder replacement ladder, which simplified version is it starts with you're going to add some more housekeeping. You're going to add somebody who is a VA. You're going to add somebody who's more of a house manager, depending on how many kids and all this people have. And then you're going to add somebody on in your delivery, then in your marketing, then in your sales. And the very last is hiring leadership. because leadership is the most expensive. So this
Right.
goes from the lowest dollar pay to the highest, generally, not always, but somewhere in there. Okay. Because again, you can hire a coach for $350,000 for one day.
Mhm.
One day. Right now, for you, just to make things simplified, is let's take a deep breath and let's simplify it. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Because it's a beautiful thing when the system that I'm teaching you is working well,
Mhm.
right? It's a beautiful thing. So what I would love to see is, and then we can connect privately and have go into more details, and I can help you with a playbook and what I see. But I'll give you a rough outline. Just know that even if, so let's say right now you're doing the $1 Million Daily every day, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So you're doing all those pieces. And now how many people would you say that you have that you're running chats and you're kind of in between? You've got some people here and you may have here and you're not sure if you booked the triage or where you're at. Of those people, let's just make it simple. How many are in that?
Let's just say 20. It goes up and down from there,
And
but that's a
it
good
could be
average.
more, right? Like here's part of it is if you really assessed, you probably have 100 that aren't like between the triage, right? So if we have 20 that are between triage and strategy, but things haven't been moved along, is that more realistic? And 100 that are
Right,
probably
right. The
active
20 are the
chats.
active conversations that are either moving to triage or moving to strategy, and there's probably 150 that are just in the early stages.
Right. So even if we just bump that up to 250, I just want to show you that you have enough work for somebody to help out.
Okay.
Okay. Because part of this is, and again, everybody has a different view on this. I'm not a big fan of hiring a company because I get solicited constantly for this, but
Right.
hiring a company who comes in and they go, oh, I'll do all be your appointment setter and I'll do all this. They don't know your culture. I have
Mhm.
trained you guys really well. They don't have all these things learned, and they have a very aggressive way of making sure that appointments are booked. Okay.
Right.
You'll have the same results with me, but you're not going to burn anybody up on the path. We're not really into setting fire to humans on the path that we're doing this. Yeah. So in this let's focus on, because these you're just daily moving. So know already that if you're doing the welcome message or Pepper is, right? That
Right.
somebody's got to move these chats forward. So
Right.
add somebody because you already know they can join our program and they don't have to pay additional tuition. So like
Right.
get them on board, right? Get, even if she's doing 1 hour, she can come on board. Like this is like so will just give you so much rest. And usually an entrepreneur who's in the beginning who has some hours and she's a VA and she lives in the States, she wants to learn and is hungry to learn. Okay. So just so you know that ahead of time. So in here, um, you want somebody who's doing probably 2 to 3 hours a day in the SBC, like just dialing back, if you're having an event or a time, just like making sure follow up, follow up, follow up. I feel like I'm kind of the queen of the follow up, and this is more, again, a little bit more next level stuff because you're now adding on more people. But if her whole role is moving it forward, moving it forward, moving it forward, take a deep breath because you've already got yourself back about 2 hours a day,
That's right.
right? Because if she does these 10 hours, and again, she's doing the lower level. What I mean by lower level is you've got your whole chat flow already written out with the I help and all this stuff, right? You've got all that good stuff. And then it can get a little bit saucy where now it's it can go any way. And my team will often say, like, I have no idea what to do with this, right? But if you dial back and you do the last couple chats and then you're booking the triage, you're not going to miss anybody.
Okay.
Okay, but get somebody in to help you. It's 100% worth it. 80% done by somebody else is 100% freaking awesome.
Okay.
80%. Now we're going to work on those people that you're not going to miss out. Because if you do, and every founder listening, if you would focus your attention on high level, right? If you're focusing your attention, it is usually 15% activities that move the needle of your business, the 85%. And often founders will get out of that and they'll start going, oh, I'm going to do this Canva thing. Oh, I'm going to upload this thing. Oh, and none of those are money makers. You have to stay focused as a founder on bringing in money and on loving your people that are already in. This is why people get so frustrated. And I feel like my people aren't frustrated. I feel like you guys, as well as all the clients I serve around the world, feel really well loved. I get back to you. I have a bandwidth. I answer questions. Yes. Everybody put yes in the chat.
Yes.
Right. And so this is what I'm teaching you. I want you to feel that you're bringing in money and you're loving the people that have already bought. You're loving them well. So it's this beautiful harmony of that. So here we go. You have your tracker, which is 20 people. Now you've bought back 2 hours of your day. You can add more because you want to be in your higher level of activity. You want to be in the higher level of the end of the chat where it's getting into what I call the nuanceonomics, right? You're getting into the nuance of now they've sent you a love letter. Well, if you have somebody who's at a lower skill level, and there's all these inner workings, and there's underlying questions, and there's inner resistance, and you get what I'm saying. You need to be the one who's going to solve it. Another reason why it has to be you to solve it is you're going to be creating audio and video for your team so that you'll have it housed in boards where through this process, right? Because now you're probably finding like, oh my gosh, I forgot about Betty. Like she sent me this message. Oh, did I actually see her? Like you're getting to that, right?
Yep,
You're like, did
exactly.
we already have a triage? And then you're going into Zoom and you're like, oh my gosh, I talked to her. I don't even remember. Like, because you're the founder and you're doing everything. And this is a
Exactly.
great problem to have. This is how you start to get on the 20, 30, 50K months. And then you want to go to more, and then you want more automation, but you want more automation without losing the heart of the business. Amen.
Yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's what I teach. That's what I'm teaching you next year. Right
Okay.
now, let's not lose these people. Let's close these sales because these sales are
Right.
going to be able to fund your next year.
Right. Because I
So
got to have another 15K month and 30K month, and I've got
yeah, you want to keep going. Exactly. Right. So let's say you got your 1 to 20 people. Once you have, what I do is I simplify because usually this list is smaller, right? So if your person who is, starting starting the welcome message, doing all the body of sell by chat, and now you have them kind of running your tracker and moving people forward, then you're dialing into the last 5 to 10% of the conversation. And then you're bringing them to your hot list. And you're like, these people are hot. They're ready for a call or they're ready to be closed. Now, if they're ready to be closed, hopefully you have booked that meeting from a meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that I've nailed.
You're awesome. Right. So now you bought back some time. Now you can focus on those people and now you can grow it to 50. And then now you can close those people. What do you feel is there any portion? Is it just like you know what to do? You're just inundated. It's just a time thing. You're just dialing back and you're forgetting people. Is it a management issue? Is it a tool issue, an automation issue, or not knowing or unclear what to do between the 10-minute call and the close?
Between the 10-minute call and the close, I feel like I have not mastered that yet. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm better at the actual calls themselves and better at moving them to that triage call than I am between those two.
Exactly. Okay. So again, we'll go through the steps. So right at the end, you're saying, well, remember at the beginning of the call, I said if I thought we were a good fit, then we would book a longer name of call here call. Does Tuesday at 8 o'clock work? Now, everyone listen to this. The timing is really important. So if you have your 10-minute call on a Monday, and Rosa asked some good questions here about why me and why now. So if they say, I love you and you're amazing, and I have no idea about your system. Or if they say, I love your system, but I have no idea about you, it gives you the indicator of what you need to send to them.
Okay. That's, I think, what I'm missing is paying attention to those signals for that in between of
And
what
write
I
it all
need to
down.
send.
In a way,
Yep,
like,
yep. And I do
again,
have that. So I need to go back and do that short after call of here's some ideas of what I need to send them based on the notes I've taken.
yeah, and
That
you'll get so
that
good
made
at it. Carolyn, you'll get so good at it where you're in the call. I actually say at the end of the call, with your permission. And then I just list off all the things that I know I need to send to them for them to really be solid. Because if I don't like them, it doesn't matter. I'm not sending anything.
Mhm.
Right? If I don't like them, I just say, you know what? I really don't think I'm the best person to help you. Can you pray us out? And we're
Yeah.
done. Right? But if I really do, guys, pay attention to the EQ and pay attention, right, to now if you've been trained by me, you know, you have a PDF and you have a video, you've got a magnet video, you've got content, and you've got other stuff. Like you're growing it, you're going live every week in the $1 Million Daily. So you are getting quite a collection of assets or intellectual property to be able to send your person. And because you are also thinking about the EQ, you're sending things, whether it's, and Carolyn, I just loved your reel that you did. That was
Thank
so
you.
good. I was so excited when I saw it. I'm like, you're like in the dictionary under coachable, like there's that picture of you sitting on your chair with your cup of tea
Thank
and your
you.
book. I'm like, glory, glory, hallelujah. Everything I say, you just like and do. You
Well, that's because
remind
that
me.
was from yesterday's training. I was like, I gotta stop and go make this because there were several calls that I felt like I didn't have that emotional connection with. And I was like, what can I do to tap into that emotion in a
It was
video that I can
perfect.
send?
It was perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. In fact, post it in BTI and say, this is what I did based on what Coach Heaven shared.
Absolutely.
Because as an example, because them seeing their peers create things, it really helps, right?
Yes.
So share that with everybody. Okay. And I'm sure there's a few people that are in there that would need your services. Just saying. So the EQ part, like just to make sure you've got some of that growing and going, right? So you've got all these juicy bits happening. So if it helps you and everyone listening, and I don't want you guys to add more paperwork, like I could literally have a napkin and a pen and be wearing, like a basic dress and no makeup and do all of this in a restaurant with somebody, right? You want to keep it so simple. But if you really need to, you know, create a little worksheet for yourself, Carolyn, and everyone else that's in Google Docs that kind of has like, a checklist. Are they what? Coachable? Are they right? Ask your
Right.
things. Do they really love me? Do like even just have pictures. You can just have coachable, likable, money, and then you can check,
Mhm.
rapport or love, right? And do they understand my system? Like you could have a checklist that simple. And that way, when you're on the call, you can run through yourself, like in your mind going, right? Because we all know the people that you're having a conversation with. And I got on a call, I think I told you, with a guy, and he was like trying to tell me how to close sales. I don't think the guy like could sell soup at the store. Like I was like, biting my tongue. Can't wait to get off this call. So I know he's not coachable.
Right.
Right. So if there's something else to you, right? If they're a super nitpicky and they're like, oh my God, and they're pressuring you, where's the Zoom link? Where's the Zoom link 75 times? They are the sweep in the driveway people, guys. Like I'm warning you, they're the sweep in the driveway and they're going to drive you just nuts. I call it the bowl lady. Rosa knows my story, right? Where I had a big fancy party and I had this lady call me every day, where's my bowl? Till I finally said, come to my house. Take any bowl or anything else you want out of my house. So decide what that other thing is for you. So everyone here, you all have something, a box of something here where you're just like, you don't want or you don't like or you love or you're looking for in your person. Okay, so add that into there. So have
Yeah.
that for you, Carolyn, as part of your checklist.
Yeah. For
So
me,
then you
it's
go
the
through.
message that it is a message that is God honoring that God wants out there. I'm just listening that they know their why. Because if they don't know their why, they're wanting this message out there. I'm going to be spending too much of my time coaching them around finding their why. And so they've
Exactly.
got to know why they're writing. And if they know why they're writing, then we can move the needle forward.
Which is problem aware and solution aware.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to know that they're not just problem aware, that they're already made the solution aware. They're like, I know what I do. I know. Yes, exactly. right? So you've got some of those things going. Maybe make a checklist, and everyone else listening, because again, really good group coaching means everyone is learning. So guys, you can pop some of the ahas, what you're learning right now in the chat. Maybe make a list of what are the assets. Now, everyone here, this is for you, not just for Carolyn. What are the assets, whatever that might look like, and don't get overwhelmed when you see this, that you can send to somebody, right? If I'm listening to someone and they're talking to me, I'll just be doing a diagnostic in my head, right? If they are like, you are so nice and you're so lovely, and and you pray for people, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, they don't even know that I'm a business coach. Right. So then I'm like, they are. So that might be, and this also helps with your timing, Carolyn. So if you're on a call on a Monday and that person does love you, but they know nothing, like give some time, because Thursday you're going to be saying, so let's say Friday is the time you booked your sales call. Thursday, you're going to be sending the agenda for tomorrow
Right.
information, or Wednesday, because you guys, if your person doesn't have some kind of freak out, and when I say freak out, I'm not saying like really freak out. What I'm saying is if they don't start asking questions, objections are healthy. We want people to say, so what do you do? So how do you help? How long does it take? What does it look like? What are the logistics? When does it start? Do I work with multiple people? Where is the course content? How much money does it cost? Do I have a renewal price? Like, you want that. If they're not asking questions, guys, everyone write this down. They are not a buyer. If someone doesn't ask any questions, they're not buying. Right? When I was booking my Porsche, it was like, okay, what colors do you have? What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Does it include winter tires? Does it have, buyers will ask questions. Buyers ask questions. If they're not asking questions, they're not a buyer. So Carolyn's question is like, how do I reverse engineer this? And then how do I make sure that I'm sending the right amount of things to them so that when they're on the call, I know that they're ready, that we've already made a decision to buy. Right? So give yourself a little bit more time. Maybe Carolyn is part of it too. If somebody is like, if they're like, I've watched you, I've listened to you, I love your stuff, I love what you do, I love how you write, I am so ready for this. Don't stretch out that time frame. Right? Because they're saying, hi, I'm one of the 15%. I'm a now buyer. Please take my money. I'm a now buyer. Don't lose that person. So again, that also helps you how to structure your week.
Right. Because I think that's part of my struggle is how quickly I'm getting them into a strategy call. And there's some I think I've moved too quickly, and there's some I don't think I moved quickly enough and then lost them in between.
But truly, like again, remember the sale is made on the 5th to the 7th follow-up.
Yeah.
So, if they're the right person and they're a good fit, even if you take too long, it's just kind of like, real friends that you really love. And you
Yes.
could not see them for a long time. And all of a sudden you like book lunch or something, you just pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
So when it doesn't have that feeling, now there are people that aren't a perfect, that kind of fit, right? But again, to just dial back. So what I would also do is like in your 20, I would go back to and say, okay, so first of all, get somebody on board who can help, get them in BTI, get them doing all the modules. Then make a list, because I think you'll find, go back to the people that you didn't close. Okay, closes that didn't happen.
Okay.
And add them to your list.
Okay.
Because this is also some assets that you can send, right? It could be the declarations about like, the vision, or about writing that book, or what it was like to complete that book. I have just completed this book, or I have just got a call from someone who read my book, and just talk it out for 1 minute. Again, that's a reel. It can be a message. It can be an audio. But think about, what are all those things? What are these other assets that are going to close those that are on, the 5th to the 7th?
Yeah. Because I think there were 2 in particular that are 100% my person. One of them, I even feel in my soul that God has said this person's supposed to be in this program, and price is the only thing holding her back. And I really think it's a genuine, like, the money's just not there right now. And I think she's going to get to the point where she just says, I've got to find this. We've got to take out a loan. We got to do whatever to find this. I really, and so I don't spend a lot of time on her, but I also don't let her just fall by the wayside.
So I have that training that I did, right? That you guys watched on, Second Kings 4:1-7 that talks about the widow, right? And then just the
Mhm.
process. The first thing the widow is told to do is to borrow.
Yep.
So show her scripturally, because part of it is Christians just have some backward brains. It's like, why are you paying off your house? That
Mhm.
doesn't even make any sense at all. Like, why would you have your house paid for, but you not using any of it to create a business that's going to make sure you have recurring revenue for the rest of your life and a legacy and inheritance for your children's children?
Yeah,
Could somebody explain that to me? It's
exactly.
because it's just backward training. They've had,
Yes.
again, Dave Ramsey, I love you, love all those people out there, but they're teaching like no credit card debt. All and their brains are not working. So figure out for me, I want you to make a list of the mindset, what's going on in the mindset of your client, that you could create an audio or video that is going to automatically be able to break that down, the mindset, because they're not going to take action until that mindset. Again, creating and changing the mindset is curating an atmosphere for the sale.
Yes.
So make a list of some of those things. Go, okay, some of my people, they're not even seeing. Like if your lady is like over 40, like, she owns a house, her husband's paying her bill, all this stuff. It's like, I'll be honest, it's people don't lack resources, they lack resourcefulness.
Yes.
They're just not
That's a good way of
aware.
putting it.
They don't know aware. So how can you help her, right? So again, come up with, 3 or 4 things that are around the mindset is preventing the sale.
Mhm.
Create that for them, right? That's one of your assets. So your asset is, because you're not really overcoming price. Everyone write this down. Price is never the issue.
Right.
When people say they don't have money, they're saying they don't have a belief
Yes.
that they can do something. Okay. That's all that it is. They just don't have the belief that they can do something. It has nothing to do with money. People will figure things out. If our children were like taken hostage and there was like a ransom, I'm telling you, all of us would have the fastest campaign to collect that cash to get our child back. All right. We'd become pretty freaking resourceful. So take a look at and think about that. What are some assets that are coming to mind that you're like, I am going to create? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm making my list right now. Making my
Okay. You are good. She's making her list. She's checking it twice. Gonna find out who's ready to buy.
I love it.
Carolyn. You're right. Come on, girl. I told you. Wasn't singing at the beginning, but I'm singing now.
I
So
love it.
create that list for me, love. And then for you, create the list for you and create the list for me and for us so we can see. We learn so much from one another, don't we,
Yes, we
guys?
do.
Everyone here, put in the chat what you're learning from listening to Carolyn go through this process. But I'm not done because I want to help you a little bit more.
Okay.
So we have, you're off the call because sometimes it just helps to have things in order. Now I have it in order in the PDF, but you're off the call. Everyone, the second you get off the call, you send a voice message to the person you just had a call with. Now, guys, if you just followed me around all day, you'd be like, your head would spin how much I do in a day. And I literally can go from one room to the next, one room to the next, one call to the next, one thing to the next. And that's just how I roll. I keep high energy. So the second I'm off the call, I send a voice message, you know, hey, hey, Carolyn, it was so great to chat with you. If you go back in your chats, all of you, you'll see I did this. So great to chat with you, as promised. Why do I say the word as promised?
Coach, I don't like missing a word. Can you speak into the mic, please?
Okay, is that
Thank
better?
you.
Can you hear me
Yes.
better now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I hate that you guys can't see my mouth. This bothers me. So, okay. So as promised, why do I say when I say, hey, Carolyn, it's so great to have our call. Looking forward to connecting with you on Friday at 2 o'clock, as promised. And then I say, as promised, I have popped in the chat whatever the training was. So you would have said, okay, there was a heart thing, there is a knowledge thing that they need, whatever your things are. Plus, you've said the video. So if you have a sales video, guys, or if you have a PDF outline, whatever it is, you've sent that. And then if you have a testimonial video, which is more next level when you're going past 20K months, 15K months, as promised. So why do I say as promised, Carolyn? What is a new aspect of me that they didn't know until now?
That you're going to deliver.
Yes, Gary is not on camera, but Gary would probably say it's one of the things he really liked about me. Right? So it's not just you're emotionally present. It's not just you've got a great delivery system. Gary's like, my goodness, I can really rely on her.
Yeah.
Right? So already you're showing how you coach without coaching everyone. Stop coaching people. Everyone, you guys know who this is for that hasn't paid for your services yet. Okay, except on a call like this. But I'm saying in general, you're not coaching until they've got, coaching is the key. They get the sale is the key to be able to coach. So you're showing your integrity. So it's another side of you. They're like, wow, like she said, and she's on the call. She's there. She's back in the chat. So now you've put all this in, Carolyn. And the next thing is just hop back in a little bit later. And you could do another voice message. And again, you can keep all this recorded. Hey, you don't have to say their name. Now, I do a lot of personal stuff. Guys, you don't have to if it's not your thing, it's not your bandwidth. I'm giving you a solution. Send another voicemail. Hey, just want to make sure everything opened up. You know how crazy computers can be. And then often I'll put a GIF in the chat, something funny, right? I'll do, I might do like an old school thing, or I'll do like a computer breaking down or somebody getting run over by a computer. Just funny, right? Have something set up in your process that's funny. Then they're gonna laugh. They're gonna be like, you're my person. Yes, it opened. Thank you so much for that. Okay. They still are not saying anything about anything. Then you go back in again. So you can see why you need a team.
Yep.
You go back in again, and you can do this high level stuff because you are going to be the highest. The founder has 80 to 100% close rate for closes for sales. And you may have a person who works for you that's 50% is good, but that's a lot of sales you're missing. Right? So anything that you can pay somebody else to do and you do the sale, Carolyn, and everybody else who's listening until you have somebody who's as good as you. Because do you want to miss out on 30% of closes?
No.
No. Okay. So not right now, but down the road when you're scaling, it's just going to be the cost of doing business. But just use wisdom, hire people at the lower levels. If you guys are still doing your groceries or doing your dishes, all right, do your sales calls and hire people to do those things. All right, enough of the Sheila rant, Coach Heaven rant. So you got your voicemail, the GIF, you got them coming back in and smiling. And then you just check in again. Hey, just want to make sure everything opened okay. Oh, sorry, you already did that. Did you? Yes.
Yeah, we did
the
that.
opening. Sorry. Okay, so no. Sorry. Hey, just want to know what's your biggest aha? What are your biggest takeaways from? And at this point, it's probably the evening of the first day. And they're like, oh my goodness, I've had such a busy day. I haven't even started. You could say no worries at all. Next morning or next midday or the next day. So here you talk to them on a Monday on our little pretend scenario. You talk to them on a Monday and they don't know some things about you and it doesn't feel solid. Guys, don't get on a sales call with somebody if they're not and I'm in. If you don't have a total buy-in with someone before the sales call. Okay. So now you keep going with them. You say, hey, what's your takeaways? Then hopefully they're going to eventually get back to you and they're going to say their things. If they're just not responding and they're not saying anything, they're not ready.
Mm.
It's not a now thing, right? Like if it's a now thing, they're in enough pain that they're like, oh my gosh, like I have been out of work for 6 months, or like it's time, like I invest in myself and I get things moving. Like you want them to, because guys, if you're doing more of the work, you're going to have to do the work when they're in the program and they're going to blame you and hold you responsible for their lack of success.
Mhm.
But it's going to be them. So be okay with that, right? They're responsible for themselves, but you don't want people that, you want to know that they're going to do as much work or more because it's for their own selves. So then you're getting some takeaways, maybe, maybe not. You want to start to have that back and forth banter of some kind. So a good thing that I find, and everyone pay attention, I will say in the chat to them, I'll send a voice message that says, I just normalize. I say, normally, right? So this is day 2, Carolyn. She's either given you some takeaways or not. And this is everyone. Normally, after people watch the video till the end, they say, I'm in. One thing you could also do is, because on my PDF, I have at the end of my PDF, it says, text me, say, I'm in, if you're in. Some people get the PDF, some people get my video, depending on what kind of person they are, what kind of learner, what their preference is. But your voice message says, normally people will say, I'm in. And then we just work through, because everything's figure outable. If we feel like we're a good fit, I feel like you're a good fit, you feel like this is a good fit for you, everything's figure outable. And then if there's still like, you want to have some kind of response, right, from all these things that they're saying. So at some point, they're going to eventually pop their head up and they're going to tell you what it is that's going on in their mind, right? They're going to say, oh, the time. They're going to tell you their objections. Objections are not really real, but it's your opportunity for a conversation with them so that you can curate an atmosphere for buying. They're going to expose if it's a mindset issue. They're going to expose if they have fear. They're going to expose if their spouse doesn't believe in them. They're going to expose if they don't have the cash right now. And then just normalize whatever they say. Normalize their objections. What are the biggest objections you have, Carolyn, when you're going through this process with somebody? Or are you finding you're
The
getting the
biggest,
objections later?
the biggest are they'll say it's a now thing and then they'll come back and say, oh, I just don't have time. And they'll start telling me all the reasons they don't have time. That's not as common as, oh, I would be totally in if it wasn't for the price. And so overcoming those price objections is really where I'm needing to master more.
Okay. So the time thing is just a cover for the money.
I think so.
Okay. Um, so one of the things that you can ask in chat is, I just need to do a little housekeeping. I just want to make sure that the timing is good for you if you're interested in working with us. Would there be any obstacles that would prevent you from moving forward if you felt like it was a fit?
Mm. I've got
Okay.
that wording written down. I need to use that more. I don't use it as not enough.
The reason why you're saying it isn't because of it. It's so that you can isolate the money. Because you want to collect. Remember, like in my training that I say, like, just collect everything. You don't want to bounce back because you don't want to take it in and just go, and respond. Just take anything else. Is there anything else or anything else? That's why during the 10-minute and the strategy call, you want to collect everything possible so that, because sometimes people just want a voice, they just want to share what their concerns are. You may never have to even overcome it, but if you can isolate the timing, then they go, no, 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 I'll make it work. It's important to me, because their language is more powerful than yours to them.
Yes.
And later, when they say back at you, well, it's time, you can say, well, 2 days ago when we chatted, you said that you would do whatever you could to make the time available. Has anything changed since Tuesday? Because now you've caught them. And now they go into whatever that is. Here's the thing. You want to have that conversation in chat back and forth before the strategy call, right? So keep going through in this process of that verbiage and then asking about, a couple days ago you said, because if you're giving them their language, like, has anything changed since then? When you say, has anything changed since then? They're like, oh my gosh, it was 2 days ago. Nothing has changed. I still want this. And then they may say, well, like the investment looks like a lot, right? And then walk through this, right? If you're like, what you've got to be really clear as to what the outcome is.
Yeah.
Right. If like, and I know you are, but I'm just everybody else too. Like, what's your outcome? Is it relationship? Is it something that they're going to receive in their health? Is it something they're going to have like their book done? Is it going to give them more clients? Are they going to have more money? Be really clear about some of these outcomes. Because, even, anything that's like qualitative and doesn't have a quantitative, and I know yours is a bit of both, right? It's a dream that they have. And so they're skited, right? They're scared and excited.
Yep.
And so just normalize they're scared and excited. Say, if you're like most people, normalize it. If you're like most people that I work with, you're feeling a little scared and excited. I call that skited. And they'll laugh, right? Say, we feel like we're a good fit and then maybe they'll present it. Maybe they'll say, well, the investment, and sometimes I'll be really direct. I'll just say, our finances, the only thing that's the obstacle for us to get started today or tomorrow, because whenever it is, you're doing it before the triage. Our obstacle is the only thing. They'll say yes. I say, would you, are you open to looking at, again, you can say about the terms of return on investment, or you can say, are you open to looking at some different tuition options? Right? And they'll be like, absolutely. And in the text, you can actually say, what could you do this week to get started? What could you do financially this week to get started right away? And then you've closed the sale. Right? What could you do financially to get started right away? And then you'll either get radio silence, but if you have enough rapport and the person has been going back, see, you want to have this banter back and forth, the messages, are you good, gifts, hearts, the conversations, because you've got so much relationship that people feel really weird giving radio silence to somebody they have a relationship with.
Yeah.
They don't feel bad doing it to somebody they don't feel connected with. This is why we don't want to have any of the conversations without really rich rapport. And this is why you don't offload this to someone else until you've already done the replacement ladder, all the other things on the replacement ladder. So you don't want to have radio silence. But that point in the strategy call where you have to kind of be quiet as you're getting into, they're saying, are you ready to get started? You don't say anything, right? So are you ready to get started? You're waiting for them to go, yes. And then you go, what's your address? And is this Visa or MasterCard? Or I'll send you the PayPal link. You have to have the same kind of don't fill the space for them. Right? What could you do financially? Get started right away. Say you're on a quick call. Say you're having a quick call even before the strategy call. They may have a couple questions. Say, oh, we could have a couple, you could just have a couple, conversation before the sales call even. I recommend the triage, do all the stuff in chat and then go to strategy call, right, is ideal because you want to have a system that's duplicatable and scalable and sustainable. But the other part is then eventually she might go, well, I noticed that, and then she'll tell you, I can do this amount of money today. I can do this maybe next week, and then by the end of the month. Is that good for you? You close the sale,
Yeah.
right? And then you can say, um, as I said, everything's figure outable. This sounds like a great plan, and I'm looking forward to talking to you on Friday. So let's say that's Wednesday. You finally worked all that out. Thursday. Now, when you send the agenda for tomorrow, which is on the PDF, this is what you send
Mm-hmm.
one day before, or again, 2 days before, or you sent it 3 days before. You can say agenda for Friday because if somebody's kind of quiet and they're not responding, and when you say that, they will tell you their objections. Okay. Then when you send that, because you've already worked out the finances, she's no longer skited, is she?
Right.
Okay. And then she's going to say, are you okay with that? And then she's going to say, yes. See you tomorrow. And you've already closed the sale before the strategy call.
Perfect.
Okay. What did you learn, and what are you going to implement?
I learned really like what I need to be doing in between very tactically, what messages I need to be making that list of assets, and how to truly normalize their objections without giving validity to them. Like, it's normal to have that objection, but that doesn't mean that objection is valid, because it's going to be
Exactly.
something you have to shift your mindset around, and doing more of the collecting without responding. Because I think I collect and respond instead of just collecting without the response. So then I can use it to respond at the right moment instead of responding real time. So
Yes, that's really good. Can I say something? I know you may have more to say, but
please, no.
um, what I'm thinking also is, like, I love just to say, what else? What else? What else?
What
Is there anything
else?
else? What else? What else? What else? And just get them to say all their things. Well, I don't know if I can, and I got kids, and I got this, and I'm going on a trip, and like all their excuses, right? Really is what it is. You're collecting all of these things, and then you can say, and I see you, Gary. I'll make sure I get to you in a sec. So you're saying, what else? What else? What else? What else? And then you could say, what would you like to address first? Because often they just want to say things. Gary, you are a textbook of this. They just want to get all their things. Like let them speak. Let them share their concerns. Because then you also learn about how you can help your client, because you're learning
Mhm.
more and more about that person, right? And some people are super analytical, and some people won't ask you anything, right? I'm sure you figured that out already. But then say, what would you like to address first? Now, I don't recommend that if she said all these things, and money's one of them, and logistics and time, and I don't recommend that you address the money first.
Mhm.
So if she says, well, money, blah, 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 and say, well, is there any other question? Like, even though I know she just said all this stuff, is there anything else? Like, I want to address the money, but usually we address that once we're absolutely clear and we're ready to go. And she may go, oh, I'm clear and ready to go. And now you're shocked because she just said 27 things that she wasn't clear about,
Mhm.
because it was really just the money. Are you with me?
Yep.
Okay. So once she presents and says the money, then you can say, oh, absolutely. I'm happy to answer that. I kind of want to answer that last. Is there anything you want me to address before that? Okay. It's super clear, because sometimes they won't say anything. Then if she says, oh, logistics, then kind of go through, okay, sure. Today is this day, and we're going to onboard a Monday, and this is how it works. We meet an event, we're going to do a weekend somewhere in the Bahamas, and then we do this, and you do all this course stuff, and you meet your group. But make sure you keep it very simple, right?
Mhm.
Anytime you're talking, always talk in the currency of your client. Do not talk in terms of your program. Always speak in the currency of your client. Okay. So if she says logistics, if she says roadmap, if she says content, Everything is in the currency of your client. Logistics aren't even in currency of the client. She may have said, oh, well, I'm going to a wedding next week. You say, well, after the wedding, we're going to onboard you on this day. Are you with me?
Mhm.
Just pay
Mhm.
attention to everything she's saying, all the things at where she's at right now. And then we're going to be over here and we're going to be doing some of these things. And then you can go right into, is everything making sense so far? Are you comfortable with everything so far? Where would you like to go from here? And guess what? She feels now absolutely ready. And she'll say, just wondering about the tuition. Or I'm just, she knows, everybody knows the tuition because they've watched you. Everybody knows your
Mhm.
tuition because you've given them the PDF. Everyone knows about how it works because you've told them. You've even talked to her before the call to make sure she says, I'm in. So when she's saying that, what is she really saying?
Yes. And how do I actually make that payment?
Yes, she's saying yes. So, but what I like to do is say, I like to kind of go over the financial part last. Is there anything else you'd like to chat about first? Okay. But if you get a real sense that the energy has shifted, you know what I'm talking about? There's just an
Yes.
energy that shifts that they're like, I'm ready to do this. You can just feel
Yes.
it. It's tangible in the air, right? So if you're sensing that, this is why we don't want to offload. The sales is a higher skill, everyone. Follow my replacement ladder. If she's saying it in that with that energy shift and she's like, okay, I just want to know about the tuition, then you can go into what she said already. Because if in the call she's already said, I know you mentioned around the tuition that you said, you know, you can do X dollars now. I do have, and you know what, still go for the full amount, even if she said monthly or whatever.
Mhm.
I would still say I have a few bonuses for those who do the tuition in full. Would you like me to share those with you?
Mm.
Okay. Then you don't have to say any more. Like she already knows your model. So you can say, we have this, and you can come to the event and we're going to do massage and nails. And, you know, I had at one of my events, right? Where everybody got spa treatment poolside, right? So then I went into all those things and sometimes people will say all of a sudden, I want that. That sounds perfect. Because you've already worked through everything else with them.
Yeah.
Don't lose that she's willing to pay in full now, even though she said she didn't have money 2 days ago. Stay with her in this. And then say, would you like to do that? Would you like to get started with that? And she might go, yes. Then you say, perfect. What's your mailing address? And I've just sent you a PayPal link. Did you get it okay? Oh, yeah, okay. So you're writing her name, her address, all the things, the PayPal link. She's paid on PayPal. You say, perfect. I like to say in here, Carolyn and everyone listening, I like to say, what made this a yes for you? So now they've paid. And what made this a yes for you? And then they're going to say, well, I really love and I love and I love and I'm so thankful. You say, perfect. Then you go right into, I've just emailed you a copy of your understandings. If you want to have a quick look, if you want to just open that and endorse it and send it back to me. And then as they're getting the email, don't have silence. Say, go right into, okay, today is whatever day you're going to meet with my team and you're going to onboard. It's going to take about 20 minutes. From there, I'm going to introduce you to the team and we meet on this date. And you and I are going to have a one-to-one because it was part of the bonus. On Thursday, does 10 a.m. work? So you're doing multiple things at once. You're sealing in the sale by showing her all the steps that are coming. You're giving fulfillment right away. You're booking all the next steps with her. And so she's going into her email while she's listening to you. She's completing the DocuSign. She's paid in full. And now you're just going to fulfill on all the next steps. Does that help, Carolyn?
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. Gary, do you have questions regarding this whole process?
Yeah, I do. My question is, because in our team, Rosa's doing the 10-minute call, and then I'm doing the strategy call. I'm guessing it probably should be, once I know that we're setting up a strategy call from Rosa, it probably should be me who's doing this chat engagement with this prospect for the upcoming strategy call. Yes, no, or what would you suggest?
So again, I have a different view. I feel that there is a greater continuity of care to have the same person do the triage as a strategy call that's building rapport. Unless the person thinks that they are chatting with you, right? If Rose is doing the sell by chat in chat, but it's in your account, which I
Yep,
recommend. I
yep,
recommend that.
it is.
She can do the whole process back and forth, and she can have the boards where you're saying, I absolutely understand that, Bob, and then going into overcoming, whatever objection he has. You can do
Oh,
that whole process in there. Rose is assessed and not impressed, and she's gone through the process with them. Founders just have such a higher close rate.
okay, so I'm disconnected. Can you just summarize what you just said? Is it
100%.
so
100%.
I'm doing the strategy sales call, and then who's doing the chat engagement to prep them for that call?
Rose is doing it as you,
Yeah. Okay, good. Got it.
right? So,
Yep.
however, what I'm saying is, are you doing your 10-minute call on Zoom, Rosa?
Yes.
Okay. And are you finding that there's any at all disconnect in any way with Gary's person? Like, would Gary connect with them better, or would you connect with them better?
No, I find that I haven't done a lot. I've just done a couple, but I felt totally comfortable with the call and doing the follow-up chats. And Gary seems to be comfortable with my communication with them as well. So it
Absolutely.
makes it easy for him to transition.
Yeah, and sometimes there's a beautiful synergy, right?
Yep.
So that's all I'm
Mhm.
asking. If there's a beautiful synergy, however, sometimes people really connect on that 10-minute call. And so when you connect with that person and then, you may be eventually be able to transition Rosa to doing all those sales in the close.
I think so because Gary has known me for a while and he knows my deep level of interest in this project. And so, as much as I can learn about that and improve, the better it's a win-win-win all the way through because the client has consistency and flow. I get to learn more for my own business. I get to serve Gary's client 100% up to the time when he's ready.
Well, exactly. Here's the thing, Gary, is that,
Sounds good.
if you're sometimes there can be a bit of a disconnect, but I'll share with is like Rosa's doing all the chat as you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Rosa hops on the 10-minute call and they really bond with her.
Yep. They do.
Okay. And then the in between, make sure you guys are following all of the stuff to do between the 10-minute call and the strategy call so that you're getting the yes before the strategy call.
Yeah, that's the key piece I'm asking about. So
Okay. So
But hang on one second, Gary. Remember, Coach Sheila said there comes a time when we can both be in that chat. So that's what I'd like to see more from you is if
mhm.
you look at them, you jump in whenever you can, it strengthens it,
Mhm.
right? And it's no problem. We don't even have to communicate before because I'll see it as soon as I jump in.
Yep.
So I'd
Good.
love your higher engagement level in that process.
Okay. That answers my question fully. Good. Thank you.
That's great. Yes. Because you want to make sure there's that cohesion because sometimes people find when the founder is now getting on the call, if there
Okay, I'm going to come
hasn't
back in a
been,
minute.
okay, if there hasn't been enough connection, then there is a little bit of a disconnect, right? Because then you've already built the rapport with you, Rosa. Now they're getting on a call with Gary, but they've never talked to Gary. So when Gary's first opening with why me and why now, if this whole process hasn't been done well, this person is like well, I don't even know you.
Right, but you see, this is the thing. I often mention his name. So I say,
Oh, but of
Gary,
course, of course, of course,
yeah,
of course. I know you're going to do an excellent job. What
yeah,
I'm saying is you also have a different energy and how you show up totally differently. And you're so relational, right?
yeah,
Gary's a little bit more left brain.
yeah,
And so you just want to make sure that when Gary is hopping on the strategy call,
yeah,
that you don't want it to flow slowly, but he
yes,
wants to be like making sure that he's going like, hi, Rosa has told me so much about you, and I've loved chatting with you in chat, because if they think that you're the one who's doing all the chat, it's going to be awkward. So
yes,
you want it to be where Gary is coming in saying, Rosa said this, and I've loved chatting with you, and I'm finally getting to meet you.
right.
Or if you're hearing this, I'm finally getting to see you in person. Because when you then go into the why me, why now, if you haven't done that, it's going to be awkward and have some spaces that feel strange.
Hmm.
Okay, does that help?
Hmm. And because that is part of the 10-minute call as well, the why me, why now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So the
Yeah.
why me, why now. And again, you don't have to ask it directly, but you need to know why it's a now sale
Hmm.
and it's a thing for them now, and
Hmm.
that they already know who Gary is and what he does.
Right.
Right.
Got
So
it.
the reason why you ask it again on the strategy call
Hmm.
is you want to hear what they say are the reasons why they're about to buy.
Hmm.
Because if you're on that, you like, again, you've done the 10-minute call. Now you've done all this glorious sell by chat stuff we just talked about, all these audios and videos and messages and the agenda for tomorrow. And you've got the buy in and the I'm in, and I've got the money. Everything's working out. Now you get on the strategy call. It should be super flowy. There shouldn't be a disconnect because you've overcome everything.
Hmm.
Now you're on the call with them, and Gary's warm and loving and builds rapport back up quickly in a minute, and then says, "So curious, Bob, why are you choosing to work with me, and why now?" You don't want them to go back and say, "Well, I'm right." So make
Hmm.
sure, and so listen to those, listen to any closes you haven't closed, and hear like what has that client said,
Hmm.
right? If they have said, "Well, I don't really feel like it's a now thing," but they said on the triage call, on the 10-minute call, it was a now thing. Where
Hmm.
was there a disconnect? Did they, is it really another underlying issue that they're not bringing up? What's really going on? Okay, so go back and look at that. Does that help, Rosa?
Yes, very much. Thank you. Thank you
You
so much.
betcha. You betcha.
Thanks, Coach.
Lori, you bet you. Lori Dixon. I just want to say thank you to Carolyn. I didn't get to say thank you, love, before we transitioned. I know that was helpful for you, and we're excited to see the progress you'll make with that. Lori, lovely, how can I help you?
I wanted to just add something really quickly, and thanks to both Carolyn and the team, Gary and Rosa. Um, I have started doing something that's been helping us as a team, but also helping me. And that is using in every meeting the AI companion on Zoom, so that there are so many things that sometimes when we're in the flow that we miss nuances or we miss certain language that they're saying, but it also helps my team know when they want to kind of find out, okay, Lori talked with that person about XYZ, or, oh, that's going to be part of my task. Nikki says when her and I do a debrief. And so it's really helped like our meetings to go really fast through what we have and who the new authors are by using those. And some of the clients are asking for, like, could you send me some of the bullet points that you shared today? I loved what we talked about. I literally can cut and paste right from that document. And so that's been really helpful to
Which
us.
is, this is really good, guys. One thing though, so these are clients that have paid for your services, correct? Already?
Some are in the buying process, and it's
I would
usually
recommend
in a
not sending to somebody
strategy
who
call.
hasn't
Yeah,
purchased yet. Okay.
yeah,
This is everybody
yeah.
across the board, because when you have a DocuSign, you're covered in a lot of things.
Yep.
So I wouldn't send. And Lori, don't do the work for somebody else, like of cutting and
Yes.
pasting and doing all this stuff. Like again, my job is for you to teach you guys to value your oil, to be at your highest level in your zone of genius, making the most money that you can, closing those sales and outsourcing everything else. So you want to
Yes.
be careful, like anything that you add that seems nice and you're doing it for people who aren't yet clients, I would just be cautious of that. Now, if it's a
Yes.
client,
Yes.
it's, we have a policy. We do send the recording because I want you guys to benefit from that. But I would discourage strongly from doing the extra work,
Yeah.
because sometimes you'll end up having people that won't do the work.
Mm-hmm.
You'll still have those. If you've ever had those kind of people in your
Oh, yeah.
yes, right? And sometimes us over givers, we can attract those people. So I'm trying to help you guys to break free of that.
Yeah. No, and I will let you know the ones that we've been using it even this week had already gone through the strategy call. And so we were in the middle of onboarding, which was really, really helpful. And so sometimes I've done it just for me on the strategy calls so I can focus and really hear where they are and what they are wanting to do. And so that helps me a lot.
Yeah,
So,
of course. If it's
yeah,
helping you or your team,
yeah,
yes. But again, try to resist so that you
yep,
guys are not in the over delivery department. But
yep.
great input, Lori. Thank you so much. Do you
Good.
have any questions, Lori, about this sales process?
I will say it's been incredibly helpful today. And last week, when you talked about doing a quick workshop and getting something before the holidays, just feedback, brilliant, did it yesterday. It was hugely received. So
Good.
thank you for that. And it's leading already to people wanting to join us.
I'm
So
so
thank
glad. That's
you.
exciting.
Yeah.
You betcha,
Yeah.
Lori. Yeah, love you to bits. That sounds so good. Awesome. Anyone else have a question regarding the sales process, overcoming objections, scaling? You're on the call. We're going to close out soon. Chris, do you have any questions? Hey,
I
Chris,
had one
good to
question.
see
Just
you.
tell me if this is related or not.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
how do you distance yourself from the outcome emotionally?
Yeah. So how it is I think it's because, so distancing ourselves from the outcome. So again, it's in the sales conversation, right? So we're not, so when I'm talking about distancing yourself from the outcome, we have different parts of our business. We have our attract, we have our conversion process, right? So the attract would be in the marketing side of things. Conversion is all of your sales. And then we have our delivery model, right? After people have purchased, we're delivering on our promise, right? And each one of you have different things. For myself, I have Born to Influence, I have Scale to Influence, which we are rebranding into the Sales Boss Academy, because I want people to compress timeframes, even though they'll work with me longer, so that I can teach you how to do $1 million of sales in one day. And then I have a VIP level, which is 100K. So that's what right? So there's different delivery. And so your marketing is normally going to be in your highest level, not in your low ticket. Everyone here, your marketing's your high ticket. And then you're converting on those calls, you're asking and you're assessing. So if you're talking to somebody on the call, you're to figure out where they're at in the process. You're going to have different markers for you, for your business. So when I say detach yourself from the outcome, the greatest way to detach yourself from the outcome is to follow a system, right? So I have a system that you have 50 new people coming in like in your doors organically every single day. You have 40 people that are joining your Facebook group every day. So you have no shortage of leads, which I call the to love list because I hate the term leads. So you have no shortage of leads. When you have no shortage of leads, you are now free to assess and not impress. So you have lots of people to talk to. So you can detach yourself from the outcome because you don't want to work with somebody, Chris, who isn't equally or more interested in their own life and success. The worst clients are the ones that are turning to you for everything, Chris. They're the ones that are looking to you for everything. Timothy Keller wrote a book on counterfeit idols. Great book. And if anybody puts you on a pedestal, you only have one place to go, which is to fall to the ground. So when you are assessing, not impressing, you are seeing if somebody's going to be a good fit. You're asking the questions that I teach, Chris. So I have a whole sales process that I teach, because then if you have 1,400 people a month and you are connecting with your people to see if they're a good fit, now, how many new clients would you want a month, Chris, roughly?
10?
And what is your price point?
Would be 37.77
Okay.
for
And how
a
long is that for?
12-week program.
For 12 weeks. And why is there a reason why it's 37.77?
No,
Okay.
I just, I'm up from a grand to that
Yeah.
level at the point, going higher soon.
Okay, so 12 weeks. Do you have a longer program or no? You just have
No,
the hero product.
yeah,
Okay. So you have this, you don't have an MRR, which is what is called like the monthly recurring revenue of like a 12 or 18 month or 3 years, right? That goes beyond. Normally this is like something that moves people into this.
yeah.
And your price point is this in here. What do people do once they finish that? Do they just drop out of your world? What ends up happening?
Pretty much, or they go into the lower ticket um power hour. Yeah.
Right. Which is, right, if you have, right, if you have 100 people and they all graduate from it, and let's say, 15 could go to something higher, and that could be at 10 or 20,000, right? That's a ton of revenue that you're missing out on.
Yep.
Okay. So that's the
Yep.
first
I'm
thing.
nowhere near that at this point. I'm nowhere near.
But you could be like it's a decision. Guys, I want everyone to see that it's a decision, right? A decision means to cut yourself off from any other outcomes. Because I hear you say it's going to be in the future. Why do we delay? Why do we delay, Chris? Why do you think we delay?
I'm not sure of the product, possibly, or the
Right.
abilities, or the time, or the team that doesn't exist, or
Right.
the detail. Yeah.
Right. So what I would do is I would collect all those things for yourself right now. I would be like, okay, I'm not confident because is this going to work? Like, will I have enough people? Like, just collect all your concerns for yourself. Like, have a team meeting with yourself first. I'll tell you why. Because those will be the things that you won't even know it, but you will self-sabotage your own sales process. Have you ever done that before?
Sure. I think every sales rep has. Yeah.
I haven't, but I know that people do. Okay. So I wouldn't say, and I would say anybody's been trained by me. You guys all here are all smiling because you've been with me for so long. Amen to that. Like if you collect all these things, like all these fears, all the unsure, everything, and then you just are like, okay, those are the things that I am thinking about, and they're causing me delay. And it's also causing my internal resistance. if you keep having that, what ends up happening, and I'm just going to be super honest, is you start to get, like your question that you started with was, how do you not be attached to the outcome? You start to get needy instead of, right? Nobody, this is the irony. Nobody wants to work with somebody who needs the money or needs the client. Everybody can feel that energy, right? This is why the rich get richer. Because the rich have learned something. They've learned to be confident. They've learned to command authority. They've learned to have that presence. And they have a detached attitude. Right? Do they have a detached attitude? Do I sound pressing to any of you? No,
No.
I'm 100, right? I'm 100% here to serve you. You guys all know that. You know, there's lots of times I'm like, okay, I would really love to. I'm gonna love to go on. I'd love to have a break or go. But I made a decision this month, and for like this whole time, I'm like, my people, if I don't press in, they're gonna miss out on sales. If I don't keep nudging you guys, I could just take some time off. But I know that if I don't lean in and answer your questions, all of a sudden, because Carolyn's had some great cash flow coming in, many of you, but I know that if I don't press in and help you, you're not going to be able to get over. Like today, I think all of you had massive breakthroughs. So type some of those things in the chat. Like you already had massive, like things that I've taught you before now hit home for you, a few of you. So Chris, if there's any kind of neediness, instead of you're detached from the outcome and you're only going to work with the people who are the best fit, you're going to find that you're going to show up on your sales calls with that energy, and you're going to find that you're just going to keep preventing this from moving forward. So what would you really love to create? What really would light you up? And what would you really like your price point to be? You've done extraordinary things with people. I want you to collect all the testimonials from all these people that you have. I want you to collect all of them. And everyone hear from me. You know, it says like Amazon. When you go to buy a hat on Amazon, it says it has 39 and 74 reviews and all these people loved it. You just order that hat, all of you. So it's not the quality of your testimonials. Just get a whole bunch and put them on a doc sheet. Can you do that as homework, Chris? Because you have tons.
I've got a
You have all
spreadsheet,
that stuff.
140 of them on it.
Yeah, put everybody's name, or take a screenshot of all the little things that they've done. And you can block out their last name. Like just have like Denise and Bob and Sue, right? Collect that for me. Couple things why. And everyone who's listening, do this too. What it does is it'll remind you, right? It'll remind you, look what the Lord has done. Look at the great work I do. So it's for you as well. And so I want you to have that ready. But if you were to have a certain outcome, would you like to work with people longer, or do you love this 12 weeks, get a whole bunch of, things, great things happening for them and they move on? Or do you really want to go to another level with them?
Oh yeah, I think that's the next level for sure.
How many people do you think you have right now in your world that would be wanting to go to that next level?
Probably half a dozen.
Okay. So right now you have 6. I'm happy to send you my PDF for what that looks like. Mine will be different, but just reach out to them. Hi, I'm thinking of offering a VIP experience. Could you have them come? Are you in Canada now? Or are you in Mexico?
Mexico.
Okay. Could you have them come for a day to Mexico?
Yeah, but 0 of them can afford it. I mean, I shouldn't. I don't want to judge them, but
Okay. Well, then they're not your people.
right. So I got 0 people.
Okay. But here's the thing. You have lots of people. We just have to find a way for you to get started in my mentorship. Because then you'd have 1,400. 700 are not going to be your people. But out of all of that, 350 are your people. 15% are now buyers.
Yeah.
Right? So in the meantime, create this. then I want you to think about what can you offer? Because it's usually not price is not the issue. There's probably something else that's underlying or that you're not going deep enough. And guys, I'm going to be really honest with you. We often won't ask the questions of other people because we're not willing to take a look of what's really going on in the inside of ourselves. Okay, that was worth 10K. That sentence. You've got to drill down because we all think that it's price is the problem or time is the problem. There's underlying issues. You've got to go deeper and ask harder questions. But ask the questions first of yourself of why you're delaying or why you're not increasing your price point or why you're not setting up your next thing or why you're not running an event or why you don't have a 20K offer. Ask yourself better questions. Because you can be detached from the outcome when you know that you've got it going on and you've got the goods and you're going to be able to deliver. So, Chris, it sounds like a couple things. Go back to your testimonials, gather them all up because for you, right? Like without you having access to everything that I teach in the strategy, that like you need that. You need to be able to get that started so you have a strategy. Think about a couple people. Find somebody that's already in your list of people. So write down all of your list of people and reach out to them. Say, I'm thinking of doing this thing. I'm going to host, I'm going to run this, whatever that looks like for you. And I think I would love you to be a part of this.
For how
And
much?
well, that's totally up for you to decide. Guys, you all can decide what your price point is. Yes. Like we think that it's actually like eventually I know for sure, and I'm just going to say this out loud. I know my VIP is going to be $350,000 for a day with me. I don't have any problem saying that out loud. I don't struggle with thinking that I'm not worth that. So it's what you can say out loud. Right? So if in your mind it's 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 500 or right? I will also do this all the time with the right people. Like I love to connect with you. So your anointing, Chris, is what? Your signature anointing is bringing out that very best in leaders and through prayer and direction. And I really believe that if you're part of my mentorship, you're going to add so much of my business training to what you have, and it's going to be this souped up offer. If you're working with men that are making over $1 million and there's some blockages and you're charging 50,000, what's preventing you? What's preventing you from having that offer?
I just don't have or know the men with making millions. They're not on my list.
So, what's the next question?
How do I get the list? What do I say and by when?
Right. So, a couple things. How do I find those people? Right? How do I find them? You've got to be findable. You guys, we all have to be, to do, to have. We say we want that. We say we want to work with those high level people and we want to do all these things, but we've got to do the things and we got to be that person. So all this internal nonsense that's happening, and this is happening to everybody's listening live, everybody's listening online. There's stuff that unless we go through it and we're willing to look at it, there's all these things that are going on that say, I don't know if I can. And there's all this internal stuff. This is how you get really great at sales, is you start to look at what's going on inside of you. The way that you buy is the type of people that you're connecting with. The people that you're connecting with and the resistance that they have is usually exactly how you operate. If you often say, this is too expensive, you are going to have people say, oh, that's just too expensive. So a couple things. Go back to, Chris, homework. Make a list, all the internal stuff that's going on in here. that is like having you hold on to the outcome, hold on to the person, fixate on that instead of I'm just going to over deliver. Guys, I would show up. If it was just Gary, I would be on the call here for 2 hours with Gary. I will deliver. I will show up. I'm going to answer. I'm always in a state of readiness, always. Look at all those things within you. Look at for yourself. What do you want your ideal amount to be, Chris? What does that look like for you? Right? If people can't come to Mexico and you really want to have a retreat, like I travel all over the world all the time. So my thing isn't, oh, well, my people could never. It's like, well, I have that desire. So I have that desire. I need to find the people. I'm going to ask the questions. And more importantly, I'm going to be the person that when they're with me, they are never the same person ever again. So the last part, Chris, for homework is, what's that level that I need to be up at? Because you won't be able to attract that high level person if you're really struggling in confidence, or can I deliver this, or right? So be okay with that, because you got to be up to boss up to bank up. Be all right with that, Chris. Are you all right with this?
Okay.
You're so laid back. Are you going to do that homework? You're going to implement it?
Yeah, I'd like to get the recording and go back through it and list it all down correctly.
Okay, so it's going to be live for the next 24 hours. So make sure you take advantage and re-listen to it, okay? And reach out if you have any questions. We're here to help you.
Okay.
Okay, sound good? All right, some hands went up during that time. I think it was Gary, or was it Rosa?
It was me, but I got my answer. I understand that the VIP must be a bigger price than your regular program, your regular offer, right?
Yeah, so what I'm teaching you is first to have like a 12-week. From your 12-week, you go into an MRR that you have something that is like a year long. You can do a hybrid of the two from the get-go, okay? And then you have something that is a VIP.
What does MRR stand for? Sorry.
Yeah, so a monthly recurring revenue. So it'd be like a year long or 18 months. Some people have it longer, right? Depending on how long it takes to get that outcome. Right. So somebody who's in the health industry, it could be like the 12-week, get your pre-baby body back. Then your MRR might be the next level of, let's get into like some real health, and let's look at your nutrition, and let's build lean muscle. I'm not a health coach, so I'm just making all this up. Nicole is listening and laughing. And then your VIP might be, I'm going to spend a whole day with you on a jet or a yacht or at some beautiful location, and we're going to take your business to a totally different level, or your body, or whatever it is that you do. Does that make sense, Rosa?
Yeah, so if your 12-week is 3,500, your MRI should be closer to like 7,000, 10,000, and your VIP should be going up to like 20,000, 25,000, something like that.
You can decide. You totally can decide. I'm eventually going to have $1 million product.
Right. So my is now 12-week is 5,000.
Yep.
And so whether it's a 6 month or 1 year, that could be the 10 or 15.
Definitely have a year. Don't have it less than 6 months.
Okay.
Don't less than a year. So
Okay.
12 weeks, and then it depends. If you can get the results for somebody quicker, right? This is why I love live events, because you can do a whole lot in 3 days, 2.5 days. So 5,000, then you could look at a year long, right? Any price point.
And then the VIP above that. So the VIP should look like intensive. I've done a VIP before for half a day, and that worked very well in the past. So, right, so when you talk about VIP, you're talking about intensive. You're talking about a 1 day or 2 day.
Yes and no, right? Like people like experiences, right? People like fun. Everybody buys for a different reason. So you want it to be, so one thing you can do, so my VIPs, right? So my 100K offer they will have access to both of these. Okay, that'll be included. And I have somebody who's working on who's doing redoing everything. I'm having new pages for everything for my whole new funnel, because my new system that I'm teaching is going to be a little bit tweaked and different, but they have access to a whole lot of other things, right? They have access to call me if they need a call for 15 minutes. Like there's a lot more personal access, and you can decide what that looks like. You may just want a half day event and you deliver and teach a bunch. I would always couple that with a half day of total fun, right? Like I take people out on a yacht, I hire a private chef, I have an Olympic-sized swimming pool in Mexico, and they have poolside massage and their nails done, and right, like I like really decadent stuff. But there's a price point for that.
I got the idea now. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's got those, when I say intensive, I mean,
Yeah, you
you're
want to
not- you're not-
deliver.
you're not stretching it over 10 weeks. You're doing it in a day or two. And then you have all the other bonuses, all the other things I call bonus
Yes,
included in there that makes
exactly.
it value high. Right?
100%. Yes,
Okay.
you got it.
Thank
Right,
you.
Gary, you bet. Gary, this will be the last, and then I'm going to have you close out in prayer as well, Gary, okay? We're at the top
Thank
of the hour.
you.
Go
So,
ahead, sir.
yeah, so I guess we're closing in a few minutes, Jeff. So my key question is, after we did our executive masterclass, 12 people were in attendance, which was what the goal was, one small sale and some follow-up meetings, sales meetings are happening. So my question is, for those who attended, and for those who registered but did not attend but expressed interest, a specific language for following up and trying to reach them and re-engage them, please.
100%. So what you can have is you can have 2 emails.
So by the way,
So
the emails, people aren't opening the follow-up emails that we already sent. So
they're
I mean,
not. Okay,
barely,
so
well, barely. I mean, they're not clicking through to look at the offer, etc. But anyway,
no worries. Yeah. So I would have Rosa dial back if she's the one who created the first contact. The ones that were attended, the ones that did not attend.
Well, not in this case, Coach Sheila, because we didn't get those people from our sell by chat. So this was more Gary's list.
yeah, it was mostly me. So that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay. Whoever it is, though.
Yeah.
But do you have their phone number?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So their phone number, I would create an audio
Audio.
for both.
Good.
And I would say, was so great. So what do you feel was missing of why they didn't buy? Was it knowledge? Was it a lack of rapport?
Some they definitely were not the right qualified prospect for this offer, or even for. So can I just sort of?
Of
So we
course.
offered them, the 5K, start the foundational start
Yep.
to assessment. Sorry, did you ask me something?
No. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. And we said also that this may not be right for you, but let's book a call. And we had 2 people book calls, and they had some other pre-book calls as to what would work for you. We'll discover what would serve you to grow your business, achieve your goals. And so that's been sort of the approach, is that let's have a conversation, and even the follow-up that I've already done is exactly that as well. But I'm not sure that's grabbing their attention. And I
What
don't
do
think
they
it's
want most? The people who are on the call, what do they want most?
They want 2025 growth strategy, revenue.
Okay, so
Some
let's
of
just
them
make it.
wanted HR help for recruiting staff.
Yep, also
Yeah.
Okay.
some
So
leadership.
yeah, so I would make it I would make it simple so that you can get them on the call again, or
Yes.
have them people who weren't on a call, right? So the ones that had a call and didn't buy, to lean in and send a voice message of, so thankful that you attended. We've decided that we are going to offer and whatever that thing is that is the most pressing. We are going to have a team analysis and cash flow, momentum call, whatever you want to call it, something that in the actual title says the very thing they're looking for. We made a decision that we just want to bless you. We want to offer a 15, whatever, 10-minute, whatever. If it's not realistic, it's 20 minutes. Say what it is. Does Thursday at 10 or Friday at 2 work best for you? So give them a this or that.
Okay.
And then the people who didn't attend,
Yep.
then you can say, I just want to send you a personal message. Just want to send you a personal message. I know that you're super busy. And how about we go into some of the dialogue of what's going on in their head? Remember, good sales and good marketing is entering into a conversation that's already going on in your prospect's head. So go into the conversation that's in their head. I'm so sorry that you weren't able to attend. I really understand that you're so busy. It's the end of the year. You've got deadlines. You were hoping to have new people hired. You really wanted to have more revenue this quarter, and I get you. So identify with exactly their pain point immediately. Now you have them because you have paid attention to them. And then say, I just wanted to let you know, for those who weren't able to attend, we are offering, and then the same of the name of the call that was in here. We're offering this name of the call, and we would love to see you. I have Friday at 10 a.m. or Monday at 3 o'clock available. Which is better for you?
Okay.
Okay, so let me
Thank you.
know. Get those out right away. One thing I can't stress enough is what I was sharing with Carolyn is just immediately with the follow-up of as promised, right? This is something that's so part of you, Gary, that is going to set you apart. The fact that you actually do what you say. Like, people need that. That shows such leadership, right? And so you're so strong in that. So from the event, just get on that today.
So, I mean, I've already done most of these, but there were voice messages. The emails went out like right at the end of the masterclass, etc.
Of course.
Sorry.
No, of course. I know this is what I'm saying is when I'm complimenting you
Okay.
is like, I know how solid you are. That's why I appealed to you, because right away I said, as promised, and I gave you the thing. As promised, here's the thing. Oh, here's another week. I'm still the same person. You're showing up. You guys in your team are showing up. Here we are, here we are, here we are, here we are. Their life is not like that. And they really love you for that. So keep after them. And they're going to soften and be like, oh my goodness, let's just get on a call with this guy. Like, he's showing up better than like my spouse, or, they're more faithful than my
My own sales
dog.
reps.
Exactly. All right. So go after it. Okay, Rosa, go
Thank you.
ahead. And then
Appreciate
we're
it.
going to close out. Yeah.
Gary, don't jump off. I just want to ask in relation to the answer Coach Sheila said, when you say give them 2 times, are you then saying to book a call with them before qualifying them for the roundtable discussion? I'm calling it a roundtable discussion, by the way. Whatever. Let's say we call that follow-up thing a roundtable discussion. You say book something for like 20 minutes or something and invite them.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for a 15-minute call at this point, like the 10-minute first call.
No, hang on. Before you, Coach Sheila said something I want to understand.
Okay.
So is it a personal call we're asking them to come to a discussion for a group that, who
Not a group.
continue the
You're just
conversation?
inviting them, guys. Here's the thing. It's always a 10-minute call. It's the same call all the time. We just dress it up differently. We put it in, Easter clothing or Christmas gear. We're just renaming it, turning it sideways, slapping on another sticker.
Oh, so you're just looking for a one-on-one call. I thought maybe get a group together and bring them back for like a roundtable discussion to further the conversation. That's what I heard. Isn't that interesting?
Well, it's okay. It just depends on the community, right? Sometimes having a community of people will be more quiet. Conversions happen in conversations.
Okay.
Your person may say some surface stuff in a group, but the sale will be closed one-on-one.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. but still have it. I'd love to hop on a quick 10-minute call, and name the call. I'd love to hop on the, HR, discovery, whatever you want to call it, but rename it. Don't call it the same thing. Call it something totally different, but it's still the 10-minute call. Let's hop on that call and see if or how we can help you. I really appreciate it. I really build that connection with them and get them to commit to one of those times.
But what happened if he's just getting voicemail and nobody's responding? That's what I'm asking. I'm wondering, is it an email that we could send out to support that left a message on a
You can
voicemail?
do the audio and email.
An audio call. That makes sense.
Like if you have an iPhone,
Yeah.
record an audio and then send that in email.
Yeah, Gary, that's a great idea because I
Yeah.
noticed you saying you're getting a lot of dead.
But your subject line, guys, remember, people feel okay about ignoring or ghosting strangers. Once you've talked about, like Jeannie and I, what clan we're from, once you chatted about your favorite coffee, or you had an orange cat, when you're in university, or once you make connections. Yeah, Jeannie sees both of mine. Well, 2 out of the 3. Once you have connections, people feel more accountability. So your subject line, don't let it be, what are your growth strategies for 2025? Nobody wants to open the email.
Yeah, that
Nobody.
Gary has such a
Okay?
great radio voice, but if he would just get a little funnier and lighter in his audio voicemail, I think that'd be awesome.
All right, I will do that.
And
Okay,
your
I know we
subject
want to bring this
line.
baby in for a landing.
Subject line, have it fun, Gary.
Yeah.
Something fun.
Okay.
Whatever you want to
Gary.
call it. Right? Have something fun, because you know what? If you guys get a bunch of emails, let's be really honest, or voicemails or messenger, and you see all of them, and one is your like draining aunt, and one is a whining teenager, and one is your friend saying, hey, want to go shopping on Saturday? Which one are you opening first?
Probably none.
Gary's like, see, I don't shop either, Gary.
Yeah, none.
Something fun though.
I don't
right?
shop either, but just to be with a friend, I'll go.
Right? If your friend
Okay.
is saying you are the best person to hang out with, and that's the opening line, make it intimate, Gary. Go for it. Guys, the gold is in the follow-up. The gold is when we
Mhm.
really deeply connect with people. People will open up and pay. They will pay for the services because they want to be with you. Get to that place so they feel the rapport and the warmth. Get some more audios out to these people, Gary. You got the best voice in the world. Okay, get
All right,
that
I will do
out.
that.
All right, and rewatch yesterday if you didn't.
I will. I'm definitely going to tonight. Yeah.
Because it's going to change your life. And I want you to send me a message, because I mark my words, it's going to change your life. Rosa, keep them accountable to make some EQ stuff.
Oh, she
It'll all
is.
make
Don't worry.
sense.
Every day.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay, good. All right. I love you guys. Gary, can
Yeah.
you close us out in prayer?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're so grateful, Lord, for your saving grace, as I always say. Thank you that we are spirit-filled and we are called to do your purposes. Thank you for our kingdom calling. Thank you for Coach Heaven. Thank you for her full on, like every single cell and fiber of her being is committed to fulfilling her kingdom calling and serving all of our clients, including us, at the highest level. We are grateful for her. We're grateful for her expertise, her love, her caring, her sharing, her humor, her fun, and for all of us, Lord, just bless our week. Just enable us to review and integrate and apply with love and joy and humor all that we've learned this week, so we can continue to fulfill our purposes for serving our clients, having greater kingdom and social impact with joy. We pray in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Guys, unmute.
Amen.
Say bye. Thank you for hanging on so long. I am excited at all the
Bye,
good things that are
everybody.
coming. Love you guys.
Thank you
Bye,
so
everybody.
much. Bye,
Great rest of your
everybody.
day.
Love you
Thank you,
all.
Have a
thank
great
you.
weekend.
You too.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
you too. Oh, Coach, let me save the chat. There was some good stuff in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Gary, save the
Okay.
chat. Jeannie,
Yeah.
save the chat. There is some juicy stuff in there today, Coach. Oh my,
Juicy.
got me
All right.
juiced up.
Love you guys.
You know,
Bye
my
for
friend
now.
who I met this morning for breakfast, you know what her tagline is? Live the juiciest life ever.
Ooh, I'm gonna take that.
And she
to
had a
heart.
podcast with that in it, and she
I
interviewed
love
me and
it.
a bunch of other people over time.
Come on.
These are
When
I'm
I
gonna
juicy
hear
look that up.
juicy, I think navel oranges and I think juicy fruit gum.
Yes. I love
Yeah,
it. Okay, I gotta run, you
yes,
guys.
I agree
You
with you.
turkeys. I
Many
love you,
blessings.
turkeys.
Thank you, thank
Okay,
you.
bye for now.
Bye-bye. Nice meeting